The Chicago Bears have not made the playoffs since 2020. You guys know that. On this mini edition of the CHGO Bears podcast, we're going to talk about the teams that are most likely to end their playoff droughts in 2025. Adam Hogue alongside Mark Carmen, Greg Braggs Jr., and our producer, Stephen Nicholas. He has the list and where this came from. Stephen, take it away.
NFL.com listing the teams with these droughts that they're just trying to break it. Saints come in at number 6. I don't really see that as the most likely thing. They're more likely to be the number 1 pick in the draft and on the playoff drought. But then at number 5, we find our Chicago Bears.
So quick clarification. Is this a list? Is this listed in the length of the droughts or just their opinion of who's most likely to end their droughts?
Their opinion of who is most likely to end the droughts.
Okay. Well, then in that case, I don't think the Saints should be on the list at all because I think they're going to be really bad this year. And
luckily, the Bears play the Saints.
Yes. If they lose that game, that'll be a problem.
Somebody's going to supplement their roster with some Saints. By the way, interestingly enough, coincidentally, the Saints and the Bears both are on the same level of drought at 4 years. And the last time the Bears were in the playoffs, of course, they lost to the Saints, beat the Bears, who then went on to lose to the Bucs in the divisional round, and that's their last playoff game. So just, the synergy, Saints-Bears, what do you think?
I think the Saints are going to be tanking for Arch Manning.
Yeah.
But I am very curious, Stephen, who's on the rest of that list, because if the Bears are at number 5, that means that NFL.com thinks there's 4 other teams more likely than the Bears to make the playoffs this year. And let's debate that right now.
Number 4, a team the Bears are plenty familiar with, the Carolina Panthers. They haven't made the playoffs since 2017.
So the argument on this one, I'm assuming, is the Carolina Panthers playing a division that would be a little bit more accessible to the playoffs than maybe the NFC North. And I can actually see the vision on this. I've been following some of the vibes coming out of Carolina, and there are good vibes. Bryce Young ended the season on a hot streak last year. Dave Canales, I think, did a pretty solid job with a bad team in his first year as head coach. So I could see the Panthers making an improvement this year, and because they're in a little bit of a weaker division, I don't know if they're going to be better than the Bucs, but I could see why they would have a path to the playoffs, even though I think the Bears have a better team.
What's interesting to me about it is this is a bet on Bryce Young, who the Bears could have drafted and didn't draft and, traded back and ended up with Caleb a year later. Carolina, interesting OTAs over there. J.C. Horn hearing a play call, telling the defense what to do. Bryce Young getting pissed, screaming at J.C. Horn, "You don't need to cheat. I'm with you, Bryce Young. Cheaters suck," even though they get applauded by everybody around here. Loser, J.C. Horn.
You'd be better in the huddle. Don't yell out the play call to the defense.
Don't help out the guys on your own team. You're going to make them. They don't need to know the play. Let them actually practice in the moment and get better versus cheating. That sucks. You suck for saying that. Love you. Don't like you, J.C. Horn. Actually, don't know anything about you, J.C. Horn. I don't like it. Bottom line, it's interesting to me. That's a bet that I understand the divisional, perhaps easier situation Carolina's in, but it's a bet on Bryce Young, which I find that's you would not have had that a year ago at this time.
They improved their offensive line last year. Now you're in the second year of an offense, second year play caller. Bryce Young, I think made some strides, but I still have a hard time believing they're going to be able to get over that hump here this upcoming season, but I can see why they're on the list.
Yeah, I don't know that it should be higher than the Bears, but I can sort of see the logic behind it. All right, who's at number 3?
Number 3 is a team that has some ties to the Bears as well, particularly quarterback Justin Fields and the New York Jets.
Wow.
They last made the playoffs in 2010.
14 years ago, the New York Jets made the playoffs. If you're thinking about how long could this drought actually really go on, the Bears are on here at 4 years.
Well, there's no chance they're winning that division over the Bills. So that means they got to get in as a wild card. That seems like a stretch.
Steep hill to climb when you got a first-year quarterback, first-year head coach.
Now, the head coach part of it I could buy. I could see Aaron Glenn coming in with enough juice to get that new head coach bump that some teams get right away. And I don't think that was the worst roster in the world. There's areas of talent on that team. There's no question. But that's a lot of faith in Justin Fields.
Jets were a 5-win team last year with the good old Aaron Rodgers. I'm just trying to, off the top of your head, teams that are better in the AFC than the New York Jets? Chiefs, Bills, Chargers, Texans, Bengals.
Rodgers on the Steelers now.
Stinks, but maybe.
I mean, I would still say the Dolphins are better than the Jets.
Dolphins.
Although I think they're trending down. I think the Jets are trending up.
Where you at? I mean, the Broncos won 10 games last year.
Oh, the Broncos are better than the Jets right now, too.
So, I mean, you could get to 7, 8, 9 pretty easily here.
Yeah, same thing, though. I can understand the logic. I think there are pieces of some pretty good talent on that roster, actually. You get a new coaching staff come in, you get things pointed in the right direction. Offensively, though, because I believe that's a first-time play caller that they brought over from Detroit. With Justin Fields, I like Justin. I would love to see this happen. I don't think that they should be higher than the Bears, though.
You want a nuclear option for Bears fans to hate us this year is that the Jets are great. They're in the playoffs, and we don't play well.
Who's more likely to win their division, the Bears or the Jets?
Bears.
Bears.
The Bears would be.
Yeah, no, I agree. Bears.
There's no way the Jets beat the Bills. I'm not saying it's likely the Bears finish higher than the Lions, but I think the path to that happening is more obvious.
Bears.
Well, I think you're already seeing here on this list as we start to get to second and first. But I just think that everybody is kind of at a point where they want the Bears to prove it. Having these teams ahead of the Bears were the team most likely to end their drought last year. They only won 5 games. They probably should have won 9 with how many games they lost in the final second. But that's the Bears. They're supposed to win 9 or 10 games every year, and they find a way to win 4 or 5.
Yep.
Last playoff win for the Jets, just to make me as a Bears fan feel better, 2010, a divisional round against the Patriots. Last Super Bowl appearance, Super Bowl III. That would be 1969. Everyone likes to talk about 85 around here. 69, that would be 16 years earlier. Bears, better organization, Jets.
Well, the Bears might have made the playoffs in 2020, but their last playoff win wasn't since the Seahawks
2011
divisional round 2011. So they're right in the same boat as the Jets.
In recent terms, yes.
Who's number 2, Steven?
At number 2, a team that doesn't even know who their starting quarterback will be this season, the Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts. 4-year drought for the Colts.
Anthony Richardson getting a second opinion on his shoulder.
And Daniel Jones is the other quarterback.
See
how that works.
If I had a list of teams I feel most likely will be hiring new coaches, I would have the Giants and the Colts up there. And I almost want to say blow it up completely, but well, actually, a very important thing happened in the last couple of weeks because I would have said that Chris Ballard's job security is actually way higher than it should be because he's been doing so much for that organization beyond just being general manager. The fact that Jim Irsay passed away and now there's new ownership with his daughters in there, that would not make me feel better if I'm Chris Ballard. So, this one I probably disagree with the most. I know the Colts were like right there. Week 18 had a chance to get in 2 years ago. Last year went the opposite direction. Anthony Richardson, he's just bad, and now he's hurt. Daniel Jones,
They're going to miss Dio Dangbo. What about that? What about the Dio factor in this whole equation? Think about the Bears and Colts.
Their playoff chances diode when they got rid of Odangbo.
When they didn't know Dangbo
for the day.
Listen,
oh dang. Oh.
They did draft Tyler Ward 14th overall after we took Colston Loveland. One is healthy, one is not. That doesn't mean that the Colts are right, but just pointing out some other another Bears Colts connection. Don't forget about Tanner Bortolini, Wisconsin. We interviewed him, told the Bears to draft him.
There really is no Bears connection
He's
there.
the starting center of the Colts. We interviewed Bortolini. The Bears love this show.
It's Bears connection.
Bears connection. Bortolini.
Very weak Bears connection.
Tanner Bortolini.
This is not find the connections between the teams we're talking about.
That might be.
Have a take on who's going to be more likely to make the playoffs.
Well, so far I'm insulted by the teams that have the Bears.
Okay. Take on this, if we're going real, I'm insulted.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
We're doing a lot of things here. I'm having some level of
brain cramps.
Something's happening with
Steven's
Who's number
about
one?
to strangle you.
But look, the Colts being ahead of the Bears is offensive.
Okay,
You don't know who your quarterback is, and Daniel Jones is your favorite. Come on, that's insulting.
Who's number one?
The number one most likely team by NFL.com to end their playoff drought this year is the Atlanta Falcons, who will be starting a quarterback in his first full season.
So this one I can actually buy over all the other ones. And I don't necessarily have a ton of faith in what the Falcons are doing. I hated their move in the draft to trade back up into the first round and give up a future first-round pick for a guy that might have been in there in the second round. That was very Ryan Pace of them to do. That being said, decent roster. And if Michael Penix hits, which is certainly a possibility, and I think they felt pretty good about what they saw at the end of last season. I don't think it was necessarily a big enough sample size for me to go all in. But if he does hit, then, I mean, if you just look at the comparable quarterback situations of the 6 teams that are being mentioned here, I mean, it's got to be Falcons and Bears that you feel the best about, right, in terms of quarterbacks. Yeah. So I can buy this, but all right, maybe I'm being a homer here. I think the Bears should be number one on this list.
Yeah, I mean, like you said with the Panthers, the South is attainable. And Penix, unlike J.J. McCarthy, for instance, actually got experience last year. So you've got some weapons there, Bijan Robinson, Darnell Mooney, solid years, guys you can depend on. So, they did lose Grady Jarrett. There's the Bears connection for you.
There you go.
That's going to be a big hit. But, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, to me, it should be Bears, Falcons 1 and 2. Can pick nits between the two because the Falcons have the more attainable division. But these other teams ahead of the Bears doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, they got a nice security blanket, too, in Kirk Cousins. That's a $27.5 million backup quarterback if Penix gets hurt, which was one of the concerns on him.
But he might not be on the team. He might still get traded.
To who? What would you bet on at this point?
It's not really the point, but the point is I think they still want to trade him.
Well, it's kind of the point because I think he's going to be there, and it's an insurance policy.
Well, they might be stuck with him.
I think
he also sucked last year. So
that's true. However, I don't know, been there another year. I still think that's a nice little bit of a insurance once again for Atlanta. I don't like it though. None of these teams really jump off the page to me, to be honest, and including the Bears. As far as if I had to bet my life on it, would the Bears make the playoffs this year? Give me 9 wins at a positive forward season, and let's move towards having third-year Caleb be the year that we all dance in the streets and take our shirts off and talk proudly about who we become as people. That's what I'm rooting for.
We do full-hour shows on this podcast, Monday through Friday. You can catch us live at noon on YouTube, but right here on your podcast feed as well. And every once in a while, we give you a little bonus mini-pod. This is CHGO Bears Podcast.